All right, we'll bring to order the Washington County Open Space and Regional Parks Commission meeting of January 7th. Roll call, please.
Doug Doolittle.
Here.
Stephanie Chen, absent. Heidi Anderson.
Here.
Polly Boardman.
Here.
Thomas Gwynn, absent. Darla Lee.
Here.
Chris Denzel, absent. Jennifer Oliver.
Here.
And Greg Shorts.
Here.
Thank you. Polly, would you lead us in pledge, please? Thank you. Before we get going on public comments, I just want to, my chairmanship ends here, but I want to advise the new chairman that when we do a motion, just to help the secretaries, announce the person that's giving the motion and announce the seconder of the motion as we go forward. Okay? Cool. All right, public comments. I do not have any slips. Is there any public comments? Seeing none, we'll move on. Election of the Open Space and Regional Parks Commission Chair and Vice Chair for a term of January 1, 2020 through December 31st, 2021. And I think it'd be probably appropriate to take them one at a time. So are there any nominations on the floor for the Commission Chair position? Okay, I'll make a nomination of Stephanie Chen. Is there a second?
Polly Boardman, I second.
And I just gave you the rules and I didn't do it. Doug Doolittle is making the motion and Polly Boardman is seconding that motion. All right. Any discussion on that?
Is it okay that she's not here?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You generally elect people that aren't here so they can't voice an objection. No, it's fine. My only comment on that is that Stephanie just had a child recently. She'll be out for a couple of months. She may, when she returns, decide she does not want to do this because of her time with work and with the child, and then we can go through the process again if that case happens, okay? Any other comments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Great, she's not here to take this yet, so we'll have to elect a vice chair. I'd like to see if there's any nominations on the floor for vice chair.
Darla Lee, I'd like to nominate Polly as vice chair.
Any second?
Heidi Anderson, I'll second.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Great, move on over here. Sorry for all that.
Okay. Okay, so moving on to number 5, approval of the agenda for the Open Space and Regional Parks Commission meeting of January 7th, 2020 for possible action. Is there any discussion on this one?
I would move approval. Jennifer Oliver.
Greg Short, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So we move to adopt the agenda for January 7th, 2020. Item number 6, approval of the minutes for Open Space and Regional Parks Commission meeting of December 3rd, 2019 for possible action. Is there any discussion on the matter?
Move to approve the minutes. Greg Shorts.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Doug Doolittle.
Okay, so we move to adopt the the minutes for the December 3rd, 2019 meeting. All right, so moving right along, is there any acknowledgement and recognition of Parks Operations staff for their outstanding service and contributions to Washoe County today? Okay, nothing for that agenda item today. So number 8, the Eagle Scout presentation.
Good afternoon, Commission. For the record, Nick Stoyer, Park Ranger based out of Davis Creek Regional Park. It's my pleasure today to introduce you to Jason Funk, Eagle Scout with Troop 240. What I appreciate most about Jason is he actually identified a need in the park and then came to me and said, I see a need, here's my proposal for a project, and he went forward and developed that. And so I will turn it over to him to explain what he did.
Okay. So I went to this campsite as a youth for a camp out and saw that all these tables were either the paint was coming off or the wood was in some pretty bad disrepair. So I put a plan on to, the original plan was for what I proposed was to only replace the wood for the benches and then just to recoat the wood recoat the wood on the benches, but replace the wood for the tables. And then I changed that to just replacing all the wood because it kind of all needed it. And then I was planning on having the project over the course of 2 weeks, but I had to shorten it because of other scheduling issues. So for the final plan, I just started recruiting people through Facebook and emails in the before weeks of the project. Asked Reno Lumber to donate the wood, which they were happy to, and Liberty Homes LLC donated any other supplies. So I finalized all that beforehand. And then the day before, we had Liberty Homes come over and cut all the wood to the appropriate length. From the 8th through the 11th, we had volunteers show up to help sand and varnish the boards for the project. And the 12th was the day that we brought up all the varnished boards to the campsite and replaced the old with the new. And then we put one more coat of varnish on it at the end to help seal it. And then to finish up, all the wood that was replaced, we transported to a fire dumpster. And then we gave the park the leftover varnish and so that for any further repairs. We had 32 people participate with a total of 140 hours of work. Do you guys have any questions?
Any questions?
So I always like well, first of all, this is an awesome project. I'm really glad to see this work done there. I know a lot of those tables and things like that could use some TLC, and it's good to see some get it. I always kind of like to ask, though, what was the biggest thing you learned out of doing this project?
How you communicate your ideas is very important because I had to order the lumber, and we had half the lumber not there when we needed it because I failed to specify what the quantity that we needed. So there was close, but it was off by like a number. And otherwise, just communicating in general on where to meet, getting the invitation out there, just kind of getting people there and getting the materials.
That's great. Those are really good life lessons to learn. I can tell you that. So thank you very much. Really appreciate what you did.
You're welcome.
First, thank you for volunteering, and thank you for identifying the problem. I think it's very important. for people of all ages to help us identify problems and to especially come forward and volunteer to fix those problems when they occur. So as our budgets diminish, volunteerism is huge for the Parks Department, and you've been a great example. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jason. Wonderful project. I appreciate you taking the initiative and finding something. I was just wondering how you went about recruiting your volunteers, other than email and Facebook, and was it easy for you to find some help?
Well, I didn't really know who would come because no one RSVP'd back. I didn't really specify that they should, but I didn't really know who would come, so I kind of just sent the information out there and then hoped people would show up. Everyone that did, though, I was super happy for. I was super glad that they showed up, and I'm thankful for that they showed up, or else that project would not have been done in a week.
Thank you. That's another life lesson. RSVP is important. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I was just wondering, you did have some other help from your troop. I assume are you still part of a troop when you're Eagle Scout or not?
Yes, I do believe you're still part of a troop.
Okay.
I'm not really one for specifics there, so I think you are, but I don't know.
Okay. Great job.
Anything else? Great. Well, thank you, Jason. We really appreciate this and your hard work and dedication.
Okay.
Moving on to item number 9, presentation, discussion, and possible recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners to approve an easement agreement and easement deed between Washoe County and Tumwa for a water facilities easement totaling plus or minus 11,802 square feet and a temporary construction easement totaling plus or minus 23,588 square feet on APN 534-52101, part of Sugarloaf Peak open space at the appraised value of $2,033. And this is for possible action.
Sophia Kirschenman, Park Planner for the record. Good afternoon, commissioners and staff. This item is the Sugarloaf Peak open space easement. So Sugarloaf Peak is located just north of Calle de la Plata and east of Pyramid Highway. It's in Spanish Springs. And this particular request is from the Truckee Meadows Water Authority, or TUMWA, and they are requesting an access and water facilities easement to construct a new underground water line and access road across Washoe County's Sugarloaf Peak open space property. The purpose of this is to provide system redundancy, so basically backup water supply, and then also to provide new water supply, potable water service to the approved Harris Ranch subdivision, which will be a 610-lot subdivision located just to the northwest of Sugarloaf Peak. Staff did request an analysis of viable alternatives. Specifically, there is existing potable water service to the subdivision directly to the west of Sugarloaf Peak to the Donovan Ranch subdivision. Actually, it's now the Shadow Ridge subdivision. However, according to TUMWA, that existing water line does not have the capacity to serve Harris Ranch on top of its current demand. There's also existing water service to a subdivision on the west side of Pyramid Highway to the Pebble Creek subdivision. However, that subdivision is located in a lower water pressure zone than the future Harris Ranch subdivision will be. So Harris Ranch, or water from Harris Ranch, could essentially serve as backup supply to Pebble Creek, but water can't flow in the opposite direction due to those pressure differences. To provide a little bit of context, Washoe County received or was deeded the Sugarloaf Peak open space property in 2007. It's pictured here in that light yellow color. You'll also notice that there is a parcel outlined in light blue. That's the parcel that is owned by TUMWA, and you can see that it does have a water tank on it. TUMWA does have an existing access road and water line easement across Washoe County's Sugarloaf Peak open space property. That is shown here in red. And I've also shown the existing trail system, shown here in that sort of dark purple or blue color. And you can see that the trail and the access road do coincide for about 1.5 miles before the trail veers to the south and the access road continues northeast to the tank. There's the approximate location of that future access road and easement. You can see that the new water line would connect to the existing water line and bring water to that future Harris Ranch subdivision. Additionally, Tumwa has agreed to allow the public to utilize that new road to provide access to the trail system, essentially extending the trail as you see there. And that new trail connection would primarily likely be used by residents of the future Harris Ranch subdivision, but it could also potentially provide secondary trail access to the general public. Here's a closer view of the easement area. So the permanent access and water facilities easement would be approximately 11,802 square feet, while the temporary construction easement would be approximately 23,588 square feet. And this would be for the appraised value of $2,033. In terms of impacts and mitigation, the trail would not be closed or impeded during construction. To mitigate any noise impacts, construction hours would be limited. Additionally, Tumwa would be required to revegetate all undeveloped disturbed areas utilizing a native seed mix. And those revegetation efforts would need to result in at least 30% coverage after 1 year and 50% coverage after 3 years. If those criteria are not met, then additional hydroseeding applications or plantings would be required. Since Tumwa has agreed to provide trail access, there are no viable alternatives. Revegetation would be required to mitigate impacts, and this water line would also serve a public benefit. Staff is recommending that the Park Commission recommends approval to the Board of County Commissioners of this easement. And with that, I am happy to answer any questions that you might have. We also have a couple of representatives from Tumwa here today who are available for questions as well. Sure.
Starting, the first one is, why is the price so low compared to what we approved last meeting?
This was just based on the appraised value, so just this property or land in this area isn't worth as much as the land in the area that we looked at before.
Okay, about 1/5 of what it was before. Now, was this appraisal directly for this parcel?
Yes, it was directly for this parcel, and it was, they did utilize one of our approved appraisers as well.
Okay, all right. The other thing is that's going to turn into an access road. The access road is going to turn into basically a trailhead.
Yeah, so it's a road, and right now, I mean, if you go out to Sugarloaf Peak, where I showed the access road and the trail kind of coinciding, it's really just a road, but people can walk on it, and it just provides pedestrian and bicycle access. It turns into more of a trail, a single-track trail, when it veers from the access road portion, and then it kind of circles up to the top of the peak.
Is that part of that? Is that trailhead going to have a trailhead within the development? Do you know, or is that?
It probably wouldn't have a trailhead, at least at this point. We haven't discussed having a trailhead there. It'd be more just for residential access for people who live there to kind of come through. There's a different area to access the actual trail system as of right now. But if that became a big need, we could definitely look at that in the future.
Probably wouldn't need separate signage and all that. Then
Right.
at the place you've planned at.
Right.
Okay. I hope they'd have a different trail. The fence on the other one is like barbed wire and cut my shirt the other day. So
Yeah,
hopefully
it's,
they do something slightly different with that. All right, thank you.
you're welcome.
It looks like you've done a good job with the impacts and mitigation, so thank you for your thoughtfulness on that. And for the last 2 meetings now, we've seen these come forward. Are we seeing these every month for the next 12 months, or are we at a conclusion of easements?
These are the only easements that I am looking at the moment. Nothing else has come in. But yes, there were quite a few in a row.
Right. And all beneficial for the parks and the public, so thank you.
Thank you.
Just one quick question. I missed it. You said how many homes is this going to serve in this new development?
The Harris Ranch subdivision will have 610 homes.
610?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe. Going back to the trail that would be created, is that something that Washoe County Parks would start maintaining? I'm assuming it's not much of a trail, like distance-wise?
No, it's not very far, and right now we don't really maintain where Tumwa has their existing access road. Tumwa maintains the road. It's, we call it a trail. It's really just access to the trail system, so it's just the road that people could walk on. So we wouldn't likely be maintaining anything there, but still maintaining the rest of the trail system.
So not necessarily additional maintenance that
No.
would be required.
No.
Perfect.
Is there any public comment at this time? Okay. So I'd like to turn to the board and see if there's any motion.
I would like to make a motion to approve.
Second,
Do you-
Greg Shorts.
Do you want me to recite it?
With your
Okay.
your name.
Just give your name, Doug.
Doug Doolittle.
Is there any further discussion on this item? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we move on that one. So now item number 10, Parks Reports.
Good afternoon. For the record, Colleen Wallace-Barner, Parks Operations Superintendent, Commissioners, and county staff. Just a few things to highlight from the Park District report. We just concluded today, or maybe at 4:30 today, Christmas tree recycling comes to an end. It sounds like our sites were a little bit down in numbers, but they did have some Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District stations taking trees as well, which we are also taking those chips from those trees. So I will get the total numbers from KTMB in the next week or two. We will begin the Coming from the Cold Winter Family Series this coming Saturday on January 11th at Bartley Ranch Regional Park. These programs are free. There is a donation requested for them, but there's about 10 programs total that last through the middle of March. And if you haven't been, it's a great opportunity to get out and see some local entertainment. If you're interested in, it should actually be on our website, the schedule for Coming from the Cold. And then we do have 2 staff vacancies, just to make you aware. We have a Park Ranger 2 that we're currently hiring for. Park Ranger Marie Fong left Washoe County in December. We will sorely miss her presence here, but she chose to move on. Maybe she'll be back someday, who knows. And then our Recreation Coordinator, Pat O'Mara, took a position in Tennessee, so we are going to find his replacement soon as well. Let's see, the Arboretum, they did hire their AmeriCorps, who will be helping with the educational programs. That took a few more months than anticipated, but it is Nicole Tracy, and she came on board in December, and we'll have her through August. So you'll start seeing a lot more information about programming at the Arboretum. For the museum, just a couple highlights from December. We had the Tuba Christmas concert, as well as the Holiday Art Angel Workshop with Sierra Watercolor Society, and then, of course, the Gingerbread Festival. All were very popular with the public, and we appreciate the support from the May Arboretum Society to put on that Gingerbread Festival. And then the Animation Academy is our next exhibit that's coming to the museum, and it'll start February 15th. So at the next Park Commission meeting, I'll be sure to get you guys all passes for that show. Volunteer report, the equivalent, I don't know if you looked at the report, but we were up a little bit in our numbers from our volunteer hours. We have about 18,000 hours annually, and that equates to about 9 full-time staff through the volunteer efforts throughout the year, which is an amazing number, and we really appreciate all the volunteer support. That's all I have for the Park District reports and volunteer, but if you had any questions on the Park Planning report, Joanne Loudon and Sophia Kirschner are here if you have any questions on those.
I do have a question on the planning report.
Okay.
Blackstone Estates, where's that?
That was in Spanish Springs.
Okay.
Yeah.
What part?
Almost the same area as Donovan Ranch, kind of the same general area.
Okay. And a question on, just on operations, did anybody from staff attend the Trails Conference recently that the state put on?
I believe so. Joanne?
And it was worthwhile?
Joanne did, yes, and it was up at Mont Bleu and South Lake Tahoe.
Thank you.
One small comment. This is very small type, and it seems to be very repetitive. Is there any way that it could be highlighted to what's actually new on the report?
Okay, and what report are you referring to?
Oh, I'm sorry, Park Planning and Development
Okay,
report.
sure.
I've got old eyes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, thanks, Colleen.
Okay, thank you.
Director's report?
Good afternoon. For the record, Dave Solero, Assistant County Manager. Just a few quick updates. So at the December 10th Board of County Commissioners meeting, the board did approve the golf design contract for Wild Creek. So we're moving forward with preparing some of that. And as soon as I have some further information with our golf course designer, who I'm trying to get down here, I'd like to have him come and present to you all kind of what we're looking at, what the plan is. Right now, the schedule on that is to begin construction in the April timeframe, so that we can be open in 2021 with 8 new holes. So the board did approve that. The board also approved the Dragon Lights Reno agreement between Washoe County and TNU Arts and Culture. So that was an item that came through this board. They also will be taking action on January 14th for the other 2 easements that we saw last time up on the top of Arrow Creek Parkway. The way we've got to do that is we did a resolution of intent in December, set a public hearing date for January 14th. So if you're interested in any comment on that, it'll be heard next Tuesday at the board meeting. And then on December 17th, the board actually accepted various donations from our community, both cash and in-kind. Very good support that we get from our community for donations through the park system for the programs we provide. In this instance, it was $35,366 of in-kind donations, and an estimated $91,946 of just various things from other businesses. So very good support we receive from our community on that. The last item I've got for the director's report is we are in the middle of budget season. And that's always fun and exciting, trying to define some of those things. I have an ask for this board to please, if you're hearing anything in the community on things that are lacking or would like to see as new programs within our park system, if you could please email me directly so that I can understand a little bit of the flavor of kind of what you all are hearing from constituents related to our parks. I've got the information coming in from our park staff, but it's always nice to hear as well from the public. And I think you're a good conduit from that. So certainly if you're out and about and you happen to ask anybody any questions, some of that feedback would be great, especially during budget season. So I appreciate that. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions you may have related to this report.
Questions? Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So at this time, this is for commissioners' comments. Any topics or issues that we'd like to see on future agendas? I'll start over here. Do you have any comments? Okay, thanks. Nothing?
So I got a couple things that I'd like to see. One of those is, as a veteran, I was always interested in what other services and things we're providing for my fellow veterans in the community. I was hoping that I might be able to possibly get some sort of report or presentation to us on what does the park provide for veterans. Are there any discounts, any programs, anything that we do specifically for veterans? Or I would actually love to see what can we do. I did have some conversations with some of the Veterans Administration, the VA hospital, and they were wondering what we could do for them, but I didn't really have an answer because I don't know that. So that is something I would love to see some sort of report or presentation about, including possibilities. And the other thing I was wondering, one of my other lives is as a web designer, and I'd made some comments about the various trail websites and things that we have out there, and I was just curious if there was any plan to update that at any time. I know that the regional areas have been changed in the new master plan to a degree from what I understand looking at it. So I would assume that means there needs to be some sort of updates to what is current there. And that's something I'd also like to hear about.
Thanks, Greg. Darla? Okay. Any public comment at this time?
No public comment?
Okay. You have a public comment? Go ahead and come up and we'll give you a card.
Hi, George Lee. Mr. Solero announced that they weren't going to put a driving range in the Wild Creek upgrade or the downgrade. And I wondered what the funds requirement for that to be done. If a program could be started to raise funds from the public, golfers, whatever, to get a driving range in there so that the kids could use it to, have it handy there for the high school and for everybody. That was my comment.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, well, with that, we'll adjourn the meeting today. Thank you.